All right, let's talk about something I'm pretty sure you've seen before. You're in a company, and the leaders announce this brilliant, big picture strategy. But then you look at the actual work people are doing day to day, and it feels like it's from a different planet. It's a huge problem, and it's everywhere. So, in this explainer, we're going to look at how to finally build a bridge over that gap.
This quote from Jeffrey Moore, man, it just hits the nail on the head, right? He points out that even in the executive suite, people are using words like vision and strategy, but nobody's ever really on the same page about what they mean. It's all just abstract. There's no common language to bring it all together.
And that really brings us to the core question we're tackling today. Why is this disconnect between strategy and execution so common? And, more importantly, what can we actually do to fix it?
Okay, let's get into it. And the first thing we have to understand is that this isn't a problem you can solve just by buying a new tool or creating a new process. It's deeper than that. It's really about a fundamental shift in mindset. So where does the problem come from? Well, the main culprit is what we call traditional portfolio management. It was built for a totally different time, a slower, more predictable, pre-digital world. It's like trying to navigate today's high-speed digital world with a map from the 1950s. It just wasn't designed for this.
And when you put the old way next to the new, lean, agile way, the difference is just night and day. The traditional approach locks you into these huge, rigid annual plans. It funds temporary projects so teams form, learn, and then just disband. The lean, agile way is all about continuous flow. Instead of massive, detailed business cases, you create a lean one with a minimum viable product to test your idea fast. And you stop measuring success with old-school waterfall milestones and start measuring it based on what really matters, working solutions in the hands of customers.
If you take just one thing from that comparison, let it be this. The whole thing hinges on a massive shift. Stop funding projects and start funding value streams. Instead of giving money to a temporary project with a temporary team, you give money to a stable, long-lived team that owns a whole product or service. That one change, from temporary to permanent teams, it changes everything. So this new way of thinking, this new approach we're talking about, well, it has a name. And it's the solution we're focusing on today. Lean Portfolio Management, or as you'll often hear it, LPM.
So what is it exactly? Well, lean portfolio management is a system. It's specifically designed to finally align that high-level strategy with the day-to-day execution. And it does that by applying lean principles to three big areas: how you fund everything, how you operate the portfolio, and how you govern the whole shebang.
Okay, that's the textbook definition. But to really get a feel for how LPM works in the real world, we need to break it down into its three core parts, its three dimensions. You can think of this framework kind of like a three-legged stool. It needs all three to be stable. You've got strategy and investment funding, which is all about connecting the money to the mission. Then there's agile portfolio operations, which is about coordinating all the moving parts. And finally, lean governance, which is about oversight without all the bureaucracy. Let's take a quick look at each one.
So strategy and investment funding is really just about answering the question, are we spending our money on the things that will actually get us to our goals? Agile portfolio operations is the engine room. It helps coordinate all the teams and keeps the work flowing smoothly. And lean governance, this provides that essential oversight, making sure we're compliant and spending wisely, but in a way that enables speed, not kills it.
Now, it's really important to know, this isn't some framework you set up once and then just forget about. Nope. LPM is a living, breathing process that runs on a consistent rhythm to keep everything aligned and moving forward.
And that living process has a really simple but powerful rhythm. At a high level, it pretty much boils down to two key events. You have a big picture strategic portfolio review that happens about once a quarter, and then you have a more in-the-weeds portfolio sync that happens every month. This cadence keeps the conversation flowing constantly between strategy and execution.
And these two meetings have very different jobs. The quarterly review is your zoom-out meeting. It's where you look at the big strategic themes, check the budget, and update the long-term roadmap. The monthly sync, on the other hand, is your zoom-in meeting. It's all about what's happening right now, reviewing the big initiatives in progress, knocking down roadblocks, and making sure all the teams are coordinated.
Okay, so let's just take a breath here. We've talked about the problem, that critical mindset shift, and what LPM actually looks like in practice. But why? Why go through all this? What's the ultimate goal? Well, the real payoff here is achieving true business agility.
But how do you actually know if you're getting there? Because the old ways of measuring success, just being on time and on budget, they don't really tell the whole story. In an LPM world, we look at success across three totally different domains. That's it. Just 3 things. You don't need 100 metrics. You just need to watch these 3 key areas, and together, they'll give you a complete, holistic picture of how your portfolio is really doing.
First up, outcomes. This is the big one. Are we actually delivering value to our customers and the business? We measure this with things like KPIs and OKRs. Second, we measure flow. How efficiently is that value moving through our system? Here, we look at things like work in process and how long things take. And third, competency. How good are we at doing all of this? This is about being honest with ourselves through self-assessments so we can keep getting better.
I want to leave you with this quote from Stephen Bungay because it just perfectly captures the entire spirit of lean portfolio management. This isn't about top-down command and control. It's about creating such a deep, shared understanding of the strategy that you can give your teams the freedom, the autonomy, to figure out the best way to get there. So the final question to ask yourself is this: how much autonomy could you unleash if your alignment was crystal clear?